Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a novel that's been called both a masterpiece and, frankly, an ordeal, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This is a book that has absolutely captivated and devastated readers in equal measure, and we're going to get into exactly why.
The author herself gave us the perfect way to think about this book. She described it as an ombre cloth. One of those fabrics that starts really light on one end and just gets darker and darker until it's almost black. That image? That's going to be our guide through this really powerful and challenging story.
So the story begins at the lightest end of that cloth. We're in New York City, and we meet these four friends right out of college. They're just filled with ambition, They're ready to take on the world.
So let's meet the crew. We've got Jude, the brilliant lawyer, Willem, the aspiring actor, JB, the super-driven artist, and Malcolm, the thoughtful architect. In these early days, their friendship is literally everything. It's the hopeful, beating heart of the whole novel.
Now, at first glance, this looks like a classic Bildungsroman, right? It feels like one of those coming-of-age stories about finding success and love and who you are in the big city. But, well, that's really just where it all begins. Because very, very quickly, the shadows start to creep in. And the story starts to zoom in on one character in particular, the brilliant but deeply mysterious Jude St. Francis. His friends can see he's in constant pain, but where it comes from is a total mystery. He's haunted by a past he just refuses to talk about, and he's built this massive wall around himself that even his closest friends can't seem to get through.
Still, a few people manage to get close enough to see the cracks, and they form this small, really devoted circle of protectors who just desperately want to help him, if he would only let them in.
And as we move deeper into that ombre cloth, the story gets much, much darker. We start to confront its central, harrowing theme, the inescapable, lifelong shadow of severe trauma.
This is really the core argument of the whole book. Trauma isn't presented as some obstacle you just get over. No, it's shown as this permanent part of who you are, a wound that fundamentally changes your entire life.
Slowly, through these just gut-wrenching flashbacks, the novel reveals the horrific truth of Jude's childhood. And it's not just one bad thing. It's a relentless, escalating pattern of abuse from the very adults who are supposed to be protecting him.
So, the result of all this abuse? It drills this profound and unshakable self-hatred into Jude. He believes, down to his very core, that he is broken, disgusting, and completely undeserving of any kind of love.
And that right there sets up the central conflict of the whole story. It's this epic, lifelong battle between Jude's inner shame and the persistent, unconditional love that his friends keep offering him day after day.
All right, let's talk about that thread of light that somehow runs through even the darkest parts of this story, the incredible power of friendship.
What the novel seems to be saying here is so powerful. It's that while love might not be able to fix Jude or erase his past, these incredible bonds of friendship can act as a life-sustaining force against even the absolute worst despair.
This idea is probably best summed up by Jude's adoptive father, Harold. See, after losing his own son, Harold comes to see Jude as this wonderful, completely unexpected way his own broken life put itself back together. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thought.
And the most important relationship of all is the one between Jude and Willem. It grows from this incredibly deep friendship into a devoted, romantic partnership that really becomes the emotional anchor of the entire novel. It's just a testament to a kind of love that can endure almost anything.
Which brings us to the very end of that ombre cloth, the part that's almost completely black. We're at the novel's bleak ending, and the really tough questions it leaves every single person who reads it.
The climax of the book is absolutely devastating. Willem, Jude's anchor, his greatest love, is killed in a car accident. And without him, Jude's lifelong battle with his trauma just becomes too much to bear. He ends up taking his own life.
And this ending, this is exactly why the book is so polarizing. I mean, people are fiercely divided. Some critics call it trauma porn for just how relentless the suffering is. But others defend it, saying it's a brave look at the reality that some wounds just don't heal, and that the love Jude did get gave him decades of a life he never would have had otherwise.
So in the end, A Little Life doesn't give you any easy answers. It just leaves you with that one final nagging question. Can love really conquer all, or do some scars just never ever fade? And that refusal to give a simple answer is what makes it one of the most unforgettable and debated novels